just ran up and down the stairs. Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
When you're winded.
I didn't run up and down the stairs.
That feels cute.
Yet. I'm gonna get us. Okay.
So we can't see anyone asking any questions on Instagram.
Now, if you're asking us questions on Instagram, we'll answer later.
Sorry, friends.
Peace out.
Yep.
Sorry, can only do one thing at a time.
We're not simulcasting yet. And so we do it the old school. There's like 18 layers of technology and whatnot. So
yeah. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute since we've been here.
It has been a long time.
Yeah.
Weirdly, yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking that this morning as I was like, where's all my crap? It's not in my bag. I don't know what's happening.
We were in Sedona for the last time that we would have done a live. And we had the intention of doing something. We were like, we'll get in, we'll, do a live. And we got there and it did not feel right.
Yeah.
It felt like we would have been cramming something in to our experience. And we only had 2 days and a little, legit. And so I think it felt to me like breaking the sacredness of the experience.
I agree.
To let's force get in, and do a live. And so I think we made the right call, but I felt like I was like, oh, do we do something? Do we? And I was nah.
Nah. Let's go have a margarita.
Let's have a margarita instead. Yeah. No.
Did we have margaritas that night? No, we had mixed drinks that night.
We had margaritas the first night. That was Thursday. Right. Friday night was the cocktails at the Pizza Lisa.
That was the best
hot diggity. That was the best
my life.
Effing pizza
of my life.
For real, agree.
I love that.
100%.
If you are ever in Sedona, please go to Pizza Lisa.
I told like 3 people.
It is hot damn. It is amazing. And the service. It's this cute little quaint place.
It looks like this mom and pop place. And we walk in and there's a couple of women working. And so bear with me when I say this. I don't normally talk about gender. This sounds really whatever. But there's all these men.
Yeah.
Ranging from probably early 20s, I'd say, maybe even slightly younger, all the way up to like maybe their 40s and 50s.
Yeah, that sounds about
Just
right.
a boatload of dudes working, making these wood fire pizzas. And it was the best freaking service I think I have ever had in my entire life. So kudos.
We jammed out to I don't know.
It was like
some hard rock. It was a combination. There was some 90s in there, which was lovely. It was my birthday. I was like, yes.
Totally.
It was amazing.
No, but it was hilarious. A mom and pop place for pizza, kind of hard rock music in the background, and a bunch of dudes serving us. It was very interesting.
It's fun.
But it was an incredible meal, and it was a really, really fun night. So anyway, I think let's back it up. Beep, beep. Beep, beep. I think let's start with just the beginning of the journey. Okay. So I had been wanting to go to Sedona and was telling Natalie about it, and it was just not the right time for my whole family to go. And that's a whole nother story. It was not the right time for my whole family to go. But I will say this. So when she reached out to me and she was like, do you want to go for my birthday? I found some deals. I was like, yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. Yes, please. Mother, may I? And so it was really cool how it came together. And I want to say this too, is that I think the magic of it was that it would have been a totally different experience I got with my family.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And that's lovely. I'm not, before anybody's like, ouch, like I'm not ripping on my family, but my family doesn't jive the spiritual thing a whole bunch. If I'm just being totally real, they're along for the ride and they think I'm even sometimes over the top. So what was really great was in sharing it with you were like all in for the things like, and you're so laid back.
When in Sedona,
we do the Sedona.
Yes. It's like, you just do the metaphysical thing.
You totally do.
And everybody you could buy stones at the coffee shop.
It's
everywhere.
It is a metaphysical epicenter. Like when I say, truth be told, I don't know what I thought I was going to see or experience. And it uber lived up to my ideas and then some. But so anyway, so I feel really blessed. I think I want to start off by saying how blessed I feel that it came together in fruition that I to even do this journey. And that secondarily blessed that I did it with Natalie, because I think that it would have looked wholly different. And so I was so grateful to have a friend that was in for this and going for, just we're all in. And so that was super cool. So we want to start with, you guys are going to hear the stories. I have some pictures.
You're going to hear the stories.
So the first thing
the
we
laughter.
do is we get there and we get to the rental car, and the gentleman behind the desk, best rental car experience I've ever had. Who did we do it through? Was it Alamo?
Avis.
It was Avis. Best guy behind a counter giving us a car I've ever experienced. So in our conversation, he's like, what brings you? We're like, oh, it's her birthday. And he's like, oh, that's great. Go to these places when you go to Sedona, because we tell him we're going to Sedona. And he gives us these recommendations, which are ridiculous.
Amazing.
Like the
really
best.
amazing.
So I learned such a cool lesson about this, and not that I didn't know it, but I am such a huge fan of when you go somewhere, ask the people that freaking live there where to go.
That's right.
I mean, legit, you can do the books, you can do the reviews. I've done all of that, but hands down, all the places that people like completely directly gave us as resources were the best.
With the exception of Pizza Lisa that we just kind of wandered in.
That we fell in because you wanted wood fire pizza. So that was an extra
But it was
blessing.
on the way to the gem place. That was amazing. Crystal Magic.
Magic. So
maybe
good.
it was all part of that synergy. Just saying.
It was. And so we get to the desk, we're asking for recommendations, and we upgrade the car to a Jeep Wrangler for fun. Cause I'm like, we're here. Let's do the fun thing. Right. So we spend the first 10 minutes figuring out how to make it work. Can we tell you what I say?
So bad.
I couldn't figure out how to adjust my seat. I felt like I was on, like I may as well have been trying to drive a rocket ship.
And to start with, the dang thing, I don't think was cleaned. I think it was disgusting. He upgraded before they got to cleaning it. Well, we did clean it because my friend here brings Clorox wipes for all surfaces, which I wasn't sure. I had not traveled that way before, but thank you. Mm-hmm. And it had somebody must have spilled an entire coffee across the entire
It was
thing.
Everywhere. It was awful. So here we're cleaning and then trying to figure out how to maneuver stuff in this Jeep, and we're cracking up. Now, what I want to start by saying loud and clear is Thursday starts where Natalie and I have had an incredible deficiency of sleep. When I say incredible, so this day, as it wears on, you begin to see the cracks in our sanity by the level of humor that everything takes on. And so as we tell these stories, it might not quite sound as funny to your ears as our experience was.
But when you're sleep deprived,
everything is
super
funny times 10. So we haven't even gotten out the gate and we're already like, oh my God, what is happening? So we're cracking up. We can't figure out how to get so finally we get all the things. Praise Jesus. And we're headed to Sedona. So then we get into town and unload our stuff. And here's this is the best. You travel when you order stuff online, right? You get a hotel room, you get your thing. Yeah. So we get there and we're signing in, and Devin is helping our helpful guide at the concierge desk who's trying to sell us on a timeshare.
And I've already left the building.
And Natalie has dissociated exit stage left. And I'm like
left the building.
I'm like this. Devin, I don't give a shit. I'm not going to buy a timeshare. Bless your ever loving heart. Love you. Namaste. Get me in my room. Get me out of here. Because we got things to do.
He looked like a teenager. He must have been an adult because he had a ring on. I think he was
felt
married.
like he was 20.
But he felt like he was 12 to me.
Yeah.
And my mom brain, in tiredness and hearing jibber jabber, just went into that place. Go with me, because I know women who have teen kids know the hell I'm talking about.
I'm like this.
I was like, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I have no idea what this man is talking about. And then every once in a while, he'll ask a question and I'm like, oh, what am I answering? What's happening? Yeah. And I'll look at Jen, and Jen is just like,
I'm like this.
We're not doing this.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know what the man said.
No.
What
so
are we
finally
about?
Peel our way out of Devin's grasp. Bless his ever loving heart. He's like, if you guys want to come and spend 2 hours, just 2 hours.
I'm 2 hours watching a video.
No. Oops. We have two days and a little. No. So anyway, so then we finally get our room, and it has a veranda.
Mm-hmm.
The veranda faces our car. The parking lot.
First of all, it's subterranean.
Yes. Yeah. We're
veranda.
in the
we're under where the road is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it literally faces the grill of the Wrangler.
All the cars.
Literally faces the grill.
So in my brain, do you do this before you ever travel? My brain thought veranda. And it said right off of a hiking trail. BS, number 1. 2,
hiking trail. Hiking to the golf course?
Yeah, hiking to the sidewalk. I had this vision of this quiet, peaceful space. I could go out in the morning. If Natalie was getting ready, do a little meditation, go on live, do it. No. So we are just dying. We get in this place, and it's not bad. It's not bad. But we're just cracking up. We had visions of like there being 2 rooms. Nope. It's one small space.
Yep. It was a studio.
It is a legit studio.
Yeah.
So we're just already, right? We're already in this like half asleep, half awake. We are slap happy zone, cracking up about this. And then we finally get out, and I think we're going to go do dinner.
Yeah.
So we go to drive into town because it's late. I mean, it's late afternoon when we get there, and do a little walking around, go to Javelina Cantina, which was one of our recommendations by our gentleman at the Avis counter, who is amazing.
Yes.
And so we have to wait, do a little perusing, run into a store. And I wish I remember the name of the store, and I don't, where we found Rachel. And the woman that's working is like, oh, this is Rachel's store. And Rachel does oracle card readings. She's kind of created her own decks. And if you guys want to do one, she could do an oracle card reading. We're like,
yes, I want to do this.
Yes. I'm like, okay. And we're in. And so we set up a time to meet Rachel the next day, who we haven't met yet. We've only met the person who's managing her front desk at her store. And so cool. So we set that up. We go to dinner, and there's a couple having a disagreement at the bar, which was ever so slightly.
Well, we put in our names, and it's COVID times. It's COVID times. We, coming from Minnesota to Sedona, did not bring like our jackets with us. And by this time, the sun had gone down, and it was chilly. It was super chilly. So you didn't want to wait outside. And you couldn't really wait at the bar, but you could go order a drink at the bar and then like kind of stand between where the bar was and it was the weirdest.
It was.
Anyway, so we went and got a drink, ordered it, didn't have it, ordered it. And then stood in the middle of this room between bar and dining room tables. And this couple like legit was like ready to go to blows. And I was
it was a little uncomfortable.
I was like, not 6 feet. It was not it was not COVID approved. And I'm like, I don't even deal in energy. And I can tell you, I might, if the guy says another thing, can I talk about it? Because I am tired. And if he says another thing, I might become homicidal. And I don't even know what's happening. I have no idea.
It was this
we need to walk away.
Deeply uncomfortable, energetic.
Really
I was like, what is happening right now? So anyway, so we lived through that, and we have our drinks, and we have a beautiful dinner. So dinner was amazing. Best fajita ever. Like great cocktail. Like just so good. So we're in good spirits.
Oh, and you had a spicy,
I did a spicy margarita, which is always my favorite. It was so good. So we drive home, and here's where where it starts to get really real. The level. So now we have been up for how many hours? That was a whole day. And then
I slept like 2.5 hours.
Like 18, 19 hours. It's ridiculous.
Idea.
Okay.
But I was already.
Yeah. So we
not
go
within
in
my faculties
to get water for the room so that we can like do coffee, and we have water.
Oh yeah. We
water
went to the gas station.
Quick Trip.
She's the guy.
And there's a gentleman who looks like he belongs in Harley. What's the duck show? What's the old duck show?
What?
The Duck Dynasty.
Oh, that duck.
That's who this guy feels like. He just walked off the setup a little bit. And that's fine. I'm just giving reference. Okay. So this kind of big dude, burly beard, and we see one thing of water. We're like, is there water? He's like, yeah, it's right over there. He looks at us like we're, not putting all the, synapses together. I'm like, sir, he goes there. It's underneath the very bottom shelf, way in the back. You cannot see the water, but he walks us over and points it out as though we've, don't have all the synapses firing. Yeah. And so we get it. And we start talking about the helicopter ride, because we were laughing. Devin had
hard pass.
Oh, if you want to go see Sedona, you should definitely do it. Oh, and she and I both promptly, we're good. Thanks. Nope. Hell to the no, right? Mm-mm. So we're talking about it for this guy. We're here for the right. Anchor into earth. And this guy, he is not amused by us. No. And she and I we are like over the top stupid and funny right now. And this guy's like,
not having any.
Which totally makes it worse to me. Like, it's funnier when someone is like not in the flow.
Honestly, I have like this internal trigger for people like that, because my dad, when he was this, curmudgeon of a drunk, because he'd sometimes get in a mood. Okay. When we would have slumber parties at my house, it was like our objective to piss him off with our giggles. Because he would literally, girls. man, your giggles, they're worse than like gas. And it just would crack us up. And so I think somewhere in my subconscious, I was like, oh, fool. If you're going to look like that at me, I'm just going to keep going.
We're coming for you. I'm sure that guy was like, peace out, ladies. So
babes,
we're driving back, and here's where, it really sets in. Two events, and then we're moving on to the journey. I swear, for those of you that are joining us, are talk about the spiritual journey. We're getting there, I swear, but we have to lay the groundwork.
The laughter,
because it starts the whole thing. In this utter state of just hilarity.
Mm-hmm.
So we're driving back, and if you've ever been in a Jeep Wrangler, I rented one another time. They blow hot air sear your person on fire. Okay, so we were on our feet. We had the heat going on our feet, and it was hot. And I don't know how.
And we probably don't know how to turn it off.
And we don't. Let's be honest.
It's the Jeep and it's dark. And, oh God.
We already don't know what we're doing. And so we're getting into the resort area, and we say something about hot dogs. I don't know if I said hot dogs. It was on our feet.
You said it smelled like hot dogs,
and it did. We were driving, and I go, "It smells like hot dogs." And Natalie says, "It must be my feet." And I go like this. What? All of a sudden I have this image, you guys. This is how delirious I am, that Natalie has somehow removed her shoes. And what I'm smelling because of the Jeep heater are her feet, which smell like hot dogs. And I'm so disturbed. I start to cry.
Oh, God.
And then we go in the wrong direction of the resort. So here we are. We're both crying about this idea of the hot dog smell is Natalie's feet, which is not factual. And we're crying. And we pull up to our space, finally get out. Natalie goes in to get ready for bed. I'm on myself. I'm going to get my pajamas on. This is so personal, but we have to go all in. If we're going to go in,
we're going to go in.
We're going to go all in. So I have this halter style bra. I'm going to wear to bed under my pajamas, right? And I go to get it on, and I don't even know what happens. I have a part of me going this way, a part of me going that way. It's half strangling me, and I start to laugh. I'm out there, and I'm by myself, and I'm doing it again. I'm crying all over again. And Natalie's in the back, she's like, "Are you okay out there?"
What's happening?
Because I'm literally sobbing. And I fall on the bed. I'm face forward on the bed. Lady parts spewed. I don't even know. Take it off again. Put it on again. Do it wrong again. It's now the second. All I can do is freaking weep because I'm like, I don't even, and I can't be like, can you help me? Because it's like the girls are here and I don't know. And I don't want to be like, come on out. So she's now in the bathroom listening to me sob. Well, I can't figure out my bra for the love of all that's holy. And it was literally, that was the way all of it, from one thing to the next thing I'm just,
punch drunk.
Oh my God. Sure. The laughter. It was seriously just one.
It was cleansing.
It was the best. It was literally the best way to start the journey.
It was.
So the next day we've got our healing with Suzanne, who's going to guide us, which was very cool. So we're going to get into that. And we have our oracle card reading that day. So then we'll talk about the neat synchronicities, because the synchronicities really, they start from the very beginning, which I always get lit up about because of the places we're encouraged to go eat and go see these places, and had lots of recommendations from other people who had already been there. So we're, kind of fired up and have all this great energy about places we want to go check out. And so we finally get some sleep and go to do our journey with Suzanne. And this is my favorite story of Suzanne to start the day. And feel free to jump in.
She had to be at least 10 years our senior, right?
She is in
best
great shape
of. I've never been in that kind of shape.
She makes me look, really fluffy. And so anyway, so bless her heart. So she
takes us to Bell Rock.
And we're hiking up there. And so in the process, I told her
we're jogging.
Okay.
With backpacks.
Yeah. So we've got blankets, backpacks.
This girl is power walking up an elevation that Jen and her are in front of me. And I'm just literally looking at the ground, hoping not to vomit or pass out. And me, can we talk about the fact that I walk 4 or 5 days a week?
Yeah.
It's not like I don't walk.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And she didn't stop talking.
No.
Just conversational. No deep breathing on her part.
No. And then she says, because she knows that I do healing and she's right. So she goes to me. So Jen, tell me about your healing journey. This is me, legit. When I say this, I go, Suzanne, I would love to tell you about my healing journey, except for that the pace you're taking is making it a little hard to talk. I mean, I'm like half crazy. I have no idea where Natalie is. Natalie could be dead alongside the trail somewhere, and I'm like laughing, and I can't breathe, and I'm trying to carry conversation and be cool about it, and I'm dying. And so she kind of smiles, and then she just continued to talk, praise Jesus, and thank you, Suzanne. She was amazing. But I mean, literally, we were dying. I walked fast. I mean, for reference, that shit was uphill. Okay. So anyway, so we get there, and then this is great. I love her. She goes, so we're going to hike up here. We're just going to walk up the side of the mountain a little bit and find yourself a space.
Walk up
and then find yourself a space to sit facing the mountain. Okay, but facing the mountain means I'm like this, like no. It's graded, right? Like I can't. So ironically,
and there aren't flat spots.
No, I'm like I'm in amongst the cacti like and this, the bush. And nope. And we unpack so mind you, we said we're toting our backpacks, right? In my backpack, I'm carrying like a load of crystals because I'm bringing them to right. They're going to zhuzh them up in right. You're supposed to bring your stones that you want to really like charged with this beautiful energy. So the bag weighs, right? So I got all my crystals out, and we're sitting there, and we have our blankets. Thank God. She was like, do you want to bring a blanket? What? Had we not brought a blanket? What were we going to sit on?
We were going to sit on some cactus, I guess. I don't know.
Woo! So glad we brought a blanket. So we get ourselves all whatever, and she's in front of us, and she's got her singing bowl, super cool. And she proceeds to walk us through a really beautiful meditation.
Oh, it was.
And it was incredible. And so it was a chakra-based meditation and a clearing, and she's connecting us to the land, and it was super, super freaking awesome. And so we do that for probably, I'm guessing 45 minutes, an hour. Do you think?
Yeah.
And in the meantime, my legs are going to sleep. Does anybody feel like I'm dying? I'm like trying to be the cool yogi. Like, I'm like, I got this. No, I don't. Like my legs are full on. Like,
listen,
I'm going to get up, you have to carry me
I meditate in my comfy chair with my legs on my ottoman. I am not I don't have the floor pillow. That's not my thing.
It was bad.
But I was trying really hard, and I did the little, crisscross applesauce, and I'm sitting there, and I was into it.
Same.
She does this whole thing where we went down into the earth, and we were looking around in a cave, and it was just awesome. It was visualization.
Magic. It was magic. And my legs were dying.
I realized I was asking my leg to move in my mind, and it could not. It literally could not. I pull my arm on my leg, and I'm having a derealization experience. Or depersonalization. I think this is my leg.
Do I have a leg?
Is this my leg? Is this what is this? I literally had to lift the damn thing up and move it so that it would do that tingly thing and come back to life.
Yep.
My God.
Yep. I had to pull my leg out in front of me.
And I'm sure that was like the sciatic nerve was sitting right on some sort of spiky rock. It was phenomenal. It was hilarious.
It was phenomenal. Needless to say, minus the slight physical discomfort of sitting for that extended period of time, we came out of our journey, and it was really neat. She was like, just invited us to kind of like, okay, what did you notice?
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, so here's something really interesting that happened that I thought was unique, was at home in a meditation. Somebody's gonna be like, what in the hell are you talking? But that's okay. So in my meditation, I will often sit with a nice tall spine, right on a cushion or something like that. And what will happen is, as I really get deeper into meditation, I begin to sort of go, like my body naturally moves in this like slightly like clockwise direction. I don't know why. I don't worry about it. It's just what happens. I think it's energy. Cool. So we get on the edge of this rock, and I'm going the other direction. I'm like, what is happening? Like, I don't know if I've ever meditated. So we're in a vortex, which is super cool. And so they also, as we're walking up there, she's describing what makes that really magical, which is the red rock on top of quartz. So that's why this space is so full of this incredible energy, right? It's palpable. And, so that was really cool. That was one, like, what's happening? I was like, this is kind of nifty. Like, I'm going the other direction. So that's neat. So she's talking about the balancing energy, and this rock was grandfather rock. So I think what's happening is my feminine energy is clockwise, and my masculine energy would be counterclockwise. So I think that was what was happening there, but it was a really cool experience. I was like, this is awesome. Like, I don't know what's happening, but I kind of like it. And so then when we're starting to share, I talked a little bit about that, but we talked about the healing, and I'm telling you what, it was the tears. Mm-hmm. Even in my meditation, which I did not, this is going to sound so snooty, but I'm always really honest about my spiritual journey. She's doing this chakra meditation. I'm like, well, I got this.
I know chakra meditation.
I do my chakra. I'm like, oh my, I don't even know that I realized some of the layers of healing that needed to happen until we did this. And I went in and I was like, oh, there's a thing and the tear, and oh, there's another thing and there's a tear. And so I think one of the things I really took away from this, one, and I know this in my brain, is that healing is in layers, right? We know this. Like I know most of us are like, duh, duh. I really did not see that these things were going to come forward for me again. And I was like, whoa. And I can share if it time permits, but I can share about some of my realizations and healings that I think that took place there. But I really want to always encourage people, much like therapy, we don't do therapy necessarily one time and never have to go back again, right? That we're going to heal and then we'll develop and transform. And then we're going to maybe need to do another layer of healing. Like that's really the human experience.
Right.
And I know it for healing, but I think this was a really beautiful reminder of like, oh no, like we never do it once and it's like a one and done.
No,
it's that we're going to revisit depending on the things that are happening in our lives. Mm-hmm. And so it was really powerful to sit there. And then you talked. And I was like, oh no, I was like listening to you talk about your healing. And then I'm crying all over again. And it was crazy that we're on this trip. We're on the side of this mountain. Susanna's guiding us. I'm crying. There's probably people, but somehow you feel like you're the only three people on the planet. I can't even explain this beautiful experience. Like it was literally like just the three of us sitting there. And so neat to listen to you and your healing and like just
well, it's very there's something very magical about being present with somebody you care about a great deal,
my God.
And then listening to them talk through kind of what occurred for them.
I did not see it coming.
I
mean, I'm just gonna say I did not, and all of a sudden you were talking and I was like
which clearly you didn't see it, so there's that. Some of mine had been precipitated by some recent stuff, but yeah.
Oh my God, but it was beautiful. And so a couple of things, and again, it's not that you all care, but I want to talk like what came up, right? Because I think if we just skip over it and you can share or not share whatever you want to do, Natalie, I respect and honor what you feel like you want to get into. But for me, one thing was definitely that when we were going through one of the chakras, we were talking about the relationship we have with our body and how I got all of a sudden like super connected to having my daughter very early. And that she was a preemie and feeling like my body had betrayed me. And I almost died when I was having her. And I think it really, all of a sudden, it was like this visceral thing again of like, I'm at odds with my body because of something that happened a really long time ago.
Yeah.
And I survived it. Obviously, I'm fine. All is well. And I mean, I never had other children because of what happened in childbirth. I opted not to have any more kids. And it was a traumatic but it was a traumatic event. I think I forget to name it what it is. And so I'm sitting on the side of this rock and I'm going through the chakra systems. I'm like, oh my God, that is a piece of healing. That was one. Some work with my mom from some past things for sure came up, and also my own shame around it. Definitely, I think a lot of my tears were just getting in touch with the areas where I have not been my kindest, or I have not shown up. And when my mom was going through some really awful stuff in high school, I was so self-absorbed and you're just so in survival mode. And I just felt really ashamed of some of those things. And certainly some parenting moments that were not my best and wife moments that were not my best. And so it was just this really like, it was hard. I don't want to say it wasn't hard, and that's where the tears came in, but also that I was able to do the healing of like, you were doing your best. And I also went back to some work-related stuff and being in a job for years where I did not feel supported and I did not feel seen or valued. And so I had all these interesting things that I wouldn't have seen it. I did not see it coming. And I think that was maybe the most like jarring, like, oh, there it is. Like I don't know why I was like, oh my God, I just did not see this coming. But really, really powerful. And so, I mean, it's not like I sat and sobbed. It wasn't,
No.
but they were healing tears. It was a healing. It was the experience of it was incredibly beautiful and a releasing. And the internal experience was really funky because as we were doing our chakra work, I had this really unique experience. I've never had meditation, and I've been doing meditation for a long time. Experienced some funky things.
Funky. It's not like funky we haven't sworn here before.
Well, and we're going to get into crystal dicks in a minute. So let's just be real. So anyway,
that's just anatomy.
Just anatomy. I know it is. So I had this experience of light. It felt cool and like a lightness as the chakras were being cleansed. It was like a beautiful, tingly, light, airy sensation inside my person, taking up the residence as we cleansed. So it was powerful.
It was.
So anyway, so that was, I want to talk about the healing just because what does that mean? Otherwise it sounds ambiguous, right? And it sounds ambiguous. And then I think people kind of go, well, what the hell does that mean? And how did you heal? What does that mean? There's clarity, there's forgiveness, there's insight, there's awareness, there's release. I mean, it was just so much of feeling lighter on the inside, like I was carrying less. And that's the best way I can describe it. Is there anything that you want to share? I don't want you to feel like you have to say anything either.
It was my birthday weekend. And I always Jen and I were talking about this. I always more contemplate around my birthday each year, kind of how did last year go? And what are my thoughts about next year? I'm less of a January 1st, New Year, let's get some resolutions going, but more like, I believe that the version of me today is doing the work that I benefit from a year from now, and that I get to reflect now on how I benefited from the work that the version of me that last year did. So that was kind of where my mindset was for the whole weekend, anywho. And I would say that some of the things that were interesting for me, I had a really difficult night the night before we left because childcare issues came up for my youngest. And, anytime you're arguing with a past spouse and co-parenting in two different households, it's tough. It just is tough. And this is my second go at it. And it's like still effing tough. Like I can't, it surprises me. And old parts of you get called up when you're in that frustrated place. Old parts of you that probably were how I participated in the dissolution of that marriage all got called up for me. And I was really upset by, I don't want that to be, and very intentional, I don't want that to be how this starts for Jen and I, because we had such a little piece of time. So I was very intentional in setting the intention to forgive, all that had happened there, and to move into the weekend so that I could kind of see what my next year was going to be and set intention for myself for the next year. I posted on my birthday, as I always do, and kind of I challenge other people to do something rather than like, hey, accolades, I've been around for a hot minute, so it's not about me. But I reflect on something and then I share that. And so I shared a poem that I have in my room that's my mother's, called Finding Her Here. Look it up. It's great. Or go over to Natalie Marr on Facebook or Instagram. I think I had it even on LinkedIn, as a matter of fact. So I posted the poem and posted about how in my journey of 45 years and heading into my 46th year, I am finally liking who I am. Even the parts of me that I don't like. So this was a really beautiful weekend of just reiterating that for myself over and over and over, that I don't have to like all the parts of me to love myself, that and that loving yourself is such an important part of our journeys here. And being able to see our story as a macro and not as a, this chapter or this episode that I'm talking about in time does not reflect who all of me is. And as I gain in my life, all of me is able to better reflect back on what this whole story really means. So that's, I don't know, that was my experience, was really to feel steeped in all of that and come home in a better place to start the next year for myself.
It was, I don't know. I thought it was super magical. And she also gave us some recommendations on hikes because we were like, we don't really want to be with the masses.
Oh yeah. She gave us,
which was super freaking smart, because let me tell you, Sedona in the weekend,
It's busy.
No Gouda Buddha. I'm just going to tell you what, if you ever want to journey there, a friend of mine just said, Jen, you totally inspired me to go to Sedona. And I'm like, go during the week. I'm not even, so y'all are listening, if you're ever going to go.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
can do
Thursday, not Friday, Saturday,
even
Sunday.
Friday
was better.
Friday was great. Saturday, balls to the wall, people freaking in every store, on every trail. So the cool thing is, on our way back with Susanna, she gave us a hike. We ended up doing up to a mesa where we just had missed one little tour group leaving. We were by ourselves that Saturday that I got in and talked with all of you. That we were by ourselves up there. It was stunning. It was a beautiful little hike. And so that's where we said, like, all of these neat synchronicities of nabbing the people that are there. And then living into their recommendations was really cool.
Yeah.
And so we did that. And then we went and did some shopping.
Shopping is important.
And so did we do, because the Oracle card reading was later, yeah? Oh, is this before or after?
The Oracle card reading was before our coffee break.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we went into town, did some things, and then went into a really great art store where I met a woman who I fell in love with. And she is approximately the same age as one of my very favorite clients that I worked with for years and years and years, who I adored. Literally, they share the same name. I'm like, they had the same energy. Do you ever have this where you're like, you have a doppelganger in Minnesota? Like, it was tripping me out, like, really cool. And so we're sitting there and shooting the breeze to her and looking at all of her art. It's just this incredible, beautiful older woman that I literally was like, can I just take
it? Was so fun.
It was a blast. Yep. And just
we were almost late for the Oracle card reading.
We were so in the zone with her. Like, you know what I'm talking about? That's what this experience, I think sometimes when you're really steeped in spiritual moments, it almost feels like time stands still, like time ceases to have it doesn't feel linear anymore. And that was what it was. We were just talking and engaging and having this great conversation. And it was like, oh yeah, oh shit, we're going to be late for her. So I'm like calling the woman. I'm like, I'm really sorry, Rachel Worker. She's like, no worries. You know, it's Sedona. She's so sweet. No worries. Like, great, sweet. So we wrap that up and go do our reading. And do I have a picture? Let me see. I got to see what I have, you guys, because I took some. Oh, let's share a couple, because this is fun. I wanted to make sure we shared as we went. So this was just some of the my bag and stones here
that she hauled
hauled up with Suzanne the runner up to Bell Rock. So that's my stones being charged there on the red rock. And why do I feel like a hat? And there's Natalie on her edge by her little bush in the desert as we're trying to not have our legs go to sleep permanently.
That was good times.
And then this is the Oracle card reading. So the cool thing is that this woman is an artist, Rachel Farabon. She has tarot decks, and I'm going to share those with you guys too. But this is me pointing at Natalie's over there in the corner having her reading. And it was just really fun to see, like, her have her first experience, like a virgin Oracle card reading, like just, totally. And we'd already had this really cool healing thing. And it was like really fun to watch somebody else have a journey, like of their own. Like, so it was amazing. And so these are Rachel's, and I just want to share, because she's really cool. So I did get her Oracle card deck, which is, am I holding that upside down? Sure enough, I am. Spirit animals. This is really, really cool.
It's awesome.
It's beautiful. First of all of this is her original artwork. She's an artist. Her art in there is like, I'm like, can I have
it has all of Jen and my favorite colors. And so we were just like, totally vibing it.
It was amazing. And what I thought was really neat about Rachel, and I may invite her onto Instagram sometime to chat about this. I don't know. We want to do something because I really love her. Tarot decks make me nervous, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this today. I will talk more about it in another venue, but like, I know that tarot decks and oracle cards can be a little bit weird for people religiously. So I just want to lob this out there. I don't see these, and I just want to be honest, that I'm a deeply spiritual person, clearly, and I do have a faith. So this for me, the way that I see this is garnering your own intuition. This is not coming from some weird place. This is not demonic. It's not, for me, this is literally like tapping into your own insight, okay? Or source of sight. So really more godlike than anything. So I just want to say that, because I want you to have my brain hat on in how I view this. And what was really neat to me was Rachel talked about her tarot cards that she used for our reading. And she has no negative references in her tarot deck. which is really cool because in traditional old school, and I'm brain farting the name of it, and it's going to come to me long after we're off. There was a really old school Rider-Waite, I think is the old school tarot deck, the initial kind of one. And that has, if you do the cards are upside down, it means something to the negative. And there's these kind of like the, the death card, right? Like these things are like, so tarot made me nervous. I was like, that feels a little right. Oracle cards are like harmless, beautiful messagery. They're just harmless.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that was always really easy for me to get into. And I find them incredibly helpful, actually. But again, another conversation. She was like, I don't make any negative cards. And I was like, and sold. So that came right home with me. And her energy was beautiful. Mm-hmm. And so I loved that was something that she did that I think is really unique about her. So that's why I bought both decks. I was like, sucker. But I loved her and I love the artwork and I loved her energy around what she created here. Yep. So that was we
love that
Oracle reading. And I think both of us definitely feeling like our messages were like, you're on the right path. I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like that's what both of us.
No, they both were. They both were. And what I'll say so for me, being a virgin, having my cards done, I had Oracle cards done.
Yeah.
So it was like a deck with spirit animals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what was interesting for me is basically you kind of, put your hands over these cards, you pick out cards, and then she organizes them and starts to tell the story. And the story is based on kind of what each of these cards represent in, what their representation is. What happens in your head is that you start to put that together with your own story. And so I really thought about what a healing quality this is, because she doesn't know me from Eve, dude. She didn't know me. She didn't know my journey. She didn't know anything about it. But the way that she weaved that together, and then the way that I took that and weaved it together, was really healing for me.
Yes.
And that is so my jam, right? LearnToLoveYourStory.com is my whole freaking premise. Is like, you learn to love your story by regaining that authorship of it, and sitting at the helm of how you knit all of that stuff together. And so it was really a really interesting experience for me. And it's started my creative juices about ways to help people kind of use story differently. And I know that we've all read our Pisces horoscopes. We've all read it, and it's like, oh, you could read any of the 12 and you're like, oh, well, that's me, and that part's me, well, that's kind of me but not me. So what I'm saying, like the general stories are like archetypes, kind of Jungian, but they're the stories underneath all of our stories. And what your flavor is what your unique story is. And so that was kind of my experience with it. Was like, I could have thrown just about anything down, and I probably could have related to just about anything, but it was just really, it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And I love these. These are not like, I don't, I'm not saying, pull out an Oracle deck and make your big life decisions on something. I'm just saying I use them as guides, and just directional. And so that's, if I'm sitting with a question, that's a really neat way, I think, to dig into something just a little bit differently, and tap into your own intuition and insight and wisdom and source wisdom. So I love them. But that was a really fun experience. And so I think we felt at this point, we've had 2 healing experiences. We met this doppelganger of this incredible human that I admire so much. We've had this incredible conversation. And so then we go to sit and eat and have coffee, which we were also directed at. And I love this so much. This is Natalie. Can we talk about that? We are 2 of the biggest effing nerds on the planet. I mean, I really want to embrace our nerdiness. This is Natalie with her colored pens and her journal and her coffee. And the coffee, which I seriously think you had I
almost had an orgasm.
Yeah, it was
amazing.
And so this is us at our breakfast. And I also have my journal out, and we're just processing our experience. And so it was really neat to kind of reflect, do something. And then it was like, let's pause and let's get quiet and go inward, what we're seeing and feeling and experiencing, so that later down the road, you don't forget it. And so this is another tool that I would say, if you're going to travel and you're going to do something that's of spiritual nature for you, even if it's like, I just want to go sit on a beach and meditate, take a freaking journal. Do yourself the solid and take a journal. And even if you don't write in it, but there's something really incredible when we're traveling that time is suspended and reality is slightly suspended. And I just think we're almost more receptive to stuff that's coming in.
Yeah.
So there's a different kind of magic to sitting in reflection when you're having those experiences. And so seriously take the time and sit down and do yourself a favor. And because you'll remember it differently too, which is really cool. And so I was grateful we did this. So then we did some shopping. We got to tell the story. I mean, we just have to.
I know, it has to be done.
So there was a lot of crystal stores in Sedona. I mean, it's like Disneyland created for Jen. Can we talk? I mean, it really was though. It really was. It was so cool. So we're going to all these different stores. And the one thing I will warn, if you're ever going to go and you are a crystal guru and love them like I do, is they're expensive, right? So it's not, I did not, I bought one stone the whole time. No, 3, but 2 were itsy bitsies because they were like expensive. So I got 2 rarer stones. I got 1 healing stone, which was really cool. I'd never seen that before. And even that I bought was like this big because it was expensive. Mm-hmm. But super neat to go see all the stuff that's in the stores and things like that as well. So we're shopping in Crystal Magic, which is my very favorite.
It was an amazing,
very favorite. Store. The people were great.
It's in West Sedona, which is not like the touristy side.
Right,
of Sedona.
Right. So some of the places we had the blessing to be in were like a little bit off the cusp, but they were like the places, right? Like the places. Oh, and by the way, Mystical Tours. Am I right that that's the name of the place that we did with Suzanne?
Yes.
I want to say it was Mystical Tours.
So I don't remember.
So forgive me, but I want to say that in case anybody wants to go.
We can put a link in the posts.
I would hands down tell you to go. That company was awesome. So just before I forget. So Crystal Magic, so we're in there. It's a huge store. It's a 2-part store. And they've got all of these round glass kind of cases where there's layers of crystals, right? So there's stuff along the walls and there's all these round, displays. And Natalie and I'm looking up here and Natalie's down on the floor. And all of a sudden she just goes up.
Can we talk about this?
And I go,
Jen?
Yeah, what's up? And she goes,
there's a bowl of crystal penises. A full-on bowl of crystal cock and balls. And I was like, at first, let me just say, this is not how my mind works. I don't do this. I grew up, in a Catholic family, went to Catholic grade school, Catholic high school. I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, that is a really unfortunately shaped object. And then I realized there's an entire intentional bowl of these things. And I lost my mind. I just lost my mind.
So I will tell you, we talked about this in Insight Timer in my app, which I know sounds ironic, but I'm laughing. I'm telling this story, right?
Oh my gosh. And they're expensive. They're like $40.
It is $40.
Crystal bricks. Okay. Oh my God.
And we're dying. And we're talking about Insight Timer. My person got kicked off. She couldn't talk on Insight Timer for saying, she goes, and all she said was like, why does someone want a crystal, part? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, and also she gets kicked out. I'm dying. So anyway, Natalie says there's a bowl of crystal dicks. And so the rest of our trip was literally #crystal dicks, just so you know. And you have to be on the inside of the scoop here. We don't know. I speculate it's
I don't know.
A sexual healing thing, maybe? Yeah,
maybe.
I don't know.
Possibly. I
got nothing. But anyway, regardless, I
have no words. Well, I have lots of words.
And so this is more of the humor, that we were talking about. This was more of that. So then finally, and this is kind of one of my last picks that I shared, we get it and we find this beautiful coffee shop and grab a tea and coffee and take our little bags of goodies of the things we bought, which by the way, we did not
Jen had moved to tea, but I was still
Natalie was going hard with making sure she was caffeinated. And this was the view off the deck. And awesome. I mean, it's like just everywhere you go, one, you're obviously immersed in it, right? I mean, duh. But it was just really cool how so many of the places optimize the views and like your experience while you're sitting there, which was really cool. And so we did that. And then this was the night that we did Pisa Lisa.
Yes, it was.
So then we went and had our dinner, which was, it was my favorite dinner.
Oh, for sure. Okay.
So Pisa Lisa, PISA. LISA.
Yeah.
And Natalie's like, well, for my birthday,
Tower of Pisa.
I would love to have wood fire pizza. Cool. So we see this place and we're driving around town doing our stuff. And It was incredible. And the pizza that Natalie got, I almost got it. And I was like, well, I'm going to go with something traditional. So I got, and even my traditional pizza, by the way, amazing. She got a lemon pizza. I mean, it sounds
with lemon rotisserie chicken.
Disgusting. I mean, when you just on the, but it was all stuff that I liked on it. And it was one of the reasons I was, so she gets her pizza and I'm like, well, can I have a, she's like, of course, you know, have it. Oh, she and I, every single thing we ate. I mean, it was like,
what? It is. I think that my life's work for all of 2021 needs to be, how do I replicate this pizza without gluten? Because I woke up the next day like swung from head to toe. Totally worth it, by the way. Totally worth it. But like big old bags were on the eyeballs on Saturday because of it. But it was so good.
Oh my God. So we're having dinner, and again, I love talking about the synchronicities. We're at this dinner and we're having this excellent pizza, and and Natalie might be a little bit buzzed, I'm going to say.
Yeah,
I think you
probably, because I had a drink and then he gave us another drink.
So all is well. It's her birthday. Well. We're celebrating. And so I have one cocktail. She has a cocktail, and they forget my salad on accident. But this is a sweetness of the exchange, right? And it's cool and it's fine. And so they come and bring me pizza, and I go, so you forgot the salad. It's totally cool. Do you mind if we just remove it from cool. I don't need it. He was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. We'll take it off of the, why can I not think of the word? Bill.
The bill.
Jesus, Jennifer. I can't remember the word. So we'll take it off the bill, right? And so no worries. And he goes, but would you still like a small one? I go, that would be amazing. So he brings me this beautiful, which is delicious. Everything there is amazing. But that was the service. It was like, no, I'll take it off your bill. So sorry. Let me get that out to you. They're checking on us every 5 minutes. The guys, all of them. It wasn't even like just our wait. Like it was all of them. We're like, do you need anything? Can we get you anything? Here's this. Here's a replacement of that. Here's more water. And finally the guy goes, our waiter goes, I got something for you ladies. We're like, okay. We're sitting up facing where they make the pizza, which is really cool. So we're getting to watch like all the action, and we're visiting and talking and telling stories and laughing. And so he goes off and he makes us these espresso dessert drinks. He does not know it's her birthday. He does not know it's like we're out celebrating. I think that was what was so cool, is it just felt like,
and it was like a drink I never would order for myself because it's cold, but it's espresso like flavor.
It was amazing. And we were just like, I was like, this is like, what with the blessings?
I don't know. It was
and we popped out that night. And I think that was maybe the night that the moon was up.
It was.
And we were trying to catch
pictures. We were trying to catch pictures.
Gorgeous.
So pretty.
Oh my God. It was like, and the day we went to Bell Rock, I don't know if I have ever seen a sky that blue in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like legitimately when I say, and maybe it's the backdrop of the red rock, hot diggity. I mean, even Suzanne was like, my God, the sky today is like incredible. So we had all of these really beautiful, like just visual, I mean, like in your face, right? I mean, just this stunning beauty. And so it was just such a cool, like addition to the whole experience.
I know.
And so that night we went back, and by now, I think we might be dragging. I'm going to say it was Saturday night, because I think Saturday night we start to do this. Because we've been up and we slept, man.
I think I just laid down. I put on jammies and I was like, done.
It's like 9 o'clock.
Done.
So we're good and we're tired. And then the next day is Natalie's birthday, and we're going to hike. That was we were going to try to get to another vortex or two. And we realized that Natalie had lost her wallet.
That was awesome.
So we're like a rut row. So now we got to figure out, and I'm tired. I think by today, the fuel of like the pure bliss and the pure energy, and then the being so like ridiculously exhausted, like I am like a zombie. I'm just being real, like zombie. Anyway, so we go and we do our hike. And then we've got to find your wallet. So then there was this, like, we did some shopping, but which we did find. The blessing of all of that. I mean, let's talk about it. And so do we think you dropped it in the parking lot at the pizza place? Was that because it was in your hands?
I knew that it had to be there or someplace in a package or something that it had fallen into, because I can watch at my bank, like nothing was going.
Right.
And I had bought that stuff at Crystal Magic, and then we went to dinner. So it had to be somewhere in between those places.
And we called and asked the pizza place. We were like, if you see it, call us. We don't hear anything. We're trying to kind of like keep an eye on that, not let it, do the day, because we wanted you to enjoy it. It was like, this is our last full day here. And so we end up eventually making it back around to get a hold of somebody who's like, yes, we have it. Like, praise Jesus. Now we can go get it, and we don't have to worry anymore. You don't have to go cancel a car. I just didn't want you to have to spend half your day dealing with like, that's such a freaking drag.
Reminds me, I still haven't gotten my new driver's license.
Oh, whoops.
Whoopsies.
You have a month.
I don't think I have a month. I have for like 2 weeks now.
Oh, well, yeah, you did have a month. But anyway,
you had a month.
You had a month. So anyway, so we find that's awesome. And so then that night we ended up going kind of a weird dinner. We went to another shopping area.
Oh yeah.
That was because by then we didn't have reservations. And here was the error of our thinking was we didn't make reservations. I didn't know how crazy it was going to be on Saturday.
I mean,
when I say it was
bonkers.
Everywhere was
everybody
packed. Every touristy store, every restaurant, everything.
And that shopping place was a bit of
it was a dud kind
of.
There was cute stuff. It was artsy.
It was super expensive.
But it was very artsy. Like I'm probably not going to buy like $1,000 bowl or it was that kind of it had a museum quality to it. It's beautiful, beautiful area, but not where you were like, I'm going to pick this up and take this home with me. Exactly. So that was kind of, I can't think that's probably kind of the end of our journey of what we really kind of had time to fit in. Otherwise it was just
Starbucks run in the morning,
Starbucks and getting back home and being uber exhausted. But I am going to say this. I truly, like I said, recommend one is if you want to do a spiritual journey, I cannot reiterate these things enough. One, pick the right person. I know this sounds so stupid. Everyone does not itinerary around a vacation, number one. And two, if you take something like this takes a special connection. I just think it does.
I would agree.
That you're gonna embrace this so much differently if you're with someone who's really all in for that. And so if you're gonna take a journey like this, like I said, if I took Zach and Clay, we would go hike. They would love it. But they're not going to want to go into crystal stores and they're not going to want to do healings on the side of a mountain. That's like not their cup of tea. So I feel really blessed about going with you on this journey for a million reasons. But for sure, just sharing that bond and that memory and the experience with somebody who's really into it. Super cool.
It was fun.
Take a freaking journal.
Yes.
Do yourself a solid when you go somewhere as well. And if there's an experience you want to have of a healing sort, freaking do it. Spend the money and get in there and do it. I feel like that enhanced our entire trip.
For sure.
The synchronicity and the universal information and this sense of being in ridiculous peace. I think the most beautiful, the healing on the side of the thing was one of my very favorite moments. And then I would say on top of that mesa, I can only explain a ridiculous kind of bliss and a ridiculous kind of peace. Yep. And so even in my video, you feel it. And if I rewatch my video, it's sort of trippy. It's like, it's an out of body thing. Like I was freaking in for it, man. Yeah. And you were over here and you were meditating and you were doing your birthday thing and talking to your mom. And that was so beautiful. But there was something really magical being up there by ourselves in the quiet with the scenery. And so that was another favorite moment of mine just from this. This is like really this blissful beauty. And so take the time to pick who you're going to take a freaking journal, take the time to sit and reflect, get in nature. I would say that listen to the locals. Again, I think the real value of listening to locals talk about where they would go versus just doing what the masses are doing was really beautiful, hot diggity. And it was everything was super synchronous. And so trusting in that flow, like getting in that space and asking for that guidance. And it feels really divine. When things start happening, they're plugging in like that for you. It feels really divinely guided. Like one person after another, after an experience, after a meal, after, it was just like all of these things are coming in for us. Yeah. And so there was a really neat spiritual experience about this. And it is absolutely a magical place. I mean, I'm telling you, I will go back again. I would love to go back again when we could have more time to get to some more places. Would love more time. Because I think we would have been able to do some meditations. We would have been able to
maybe this time we'll search for like a VRBO instead of the veranda in front of the grill of the Jeep.
I think next time we're gonna do a home, because I think that was really not our cup of tea.
It was definitely, we were not, like, we didn't feel compelled to stay there.
No, and we weren't there a lot, which was totally fine. Sleep. And that was why we were there. But I would say I would do that differently as well, to embrace your journey and experience. If you're able to go out and have coffee in the morning, like you and I could have gone out and had coffee in the morning on a veranda and looked outside, and that would have been really peaceful and added to our journey. But I wouldn't diss any of it. It was exactly as it needed to be. I mean, I really feel like we were where we needed to be, how we needed to be. And so next time, just hopefully more time so that we can really get to some more of the vortex places and hikes. And
that would be beautiful.
We'll go back and have epic pizza and, God diggity. I would do that like every other night and not even kidding.
So good. And like, I would be like the steak puff marshmallow.
Oh, Jesus. Girl. It was so good. That's all, like, it was so freaking amazing. It was so good. And so yeah, I would just say, like, again, I'm a huge fan of spiritual journeys. I think getting somewhere and releasing into that experience and just having the journey unfold is it's kind of like no other.
Yeah.
So beautiful memory, beautiful experience, beautiful memories. We'll never forget it. I don't know that I've laughed that hard in a really, really solid long time.
That was the most cleansing part for me.
My God.
That was my first girlfriend trip, which it will not be the last.
No, it will not.
Because probably one of the aspects of it that was such a gift for me that I didn't realize was going to be a thing was that I wasn't responsible for anybody but me, which I don't know that I've been on a vacation that was the case ever in my life. I was only responsible for me. I didn't worry about Jen getting ready, doing things, finding her
Are you
what
hungry?
she needed.
You can take care of it yourself.
Telling me if she wanted to switch what we were doing. Didn't care. I mean, like, so I really was only worried about me. And that is a gift for a mom and an entrepreneur and a woman that I don't think that we get enough.
And I think it's really, if you've never done it, I've talked this about friends, and I know I have some friends that are like, you what? Like, you go with other friends and not your family? I'm like, yeah, dude, because
do it.
I'm not.
Yes.
Because you aren't taking care of everyone else. And that's, and I'm not saying, again, and I also love my family trips.
I have lovely family trips.
And I do. And I wouldn't do without that either. I'm just saying that when you have a chance, there is something so innately self-care based that you get to go and you're not having to take care of somebody for 3 days, 4 days, a week. You come back and there's something so freaking rejuvenating about it. There is something so refreshing. And so I think for me too, that just as an FYI for your self-care, if you have the ability to store away a little bit of cash and do things like this from time to time where you just go with girlfriends or friends.
Just I don't care if they're women.
I don't just go give plasma. Oh my God.
I've done it more than once in my life. Do whatever you need to do. Do whatever you need to do.
Within reason, do what you need to do to get there. But I'm just saying, I really truly believe as well, just as an act of self-care, that the ability to get away and refresh, and particularly like Natalie said, as parents, as women, as entrepreneurs, we are so busy and so in the thick of things. And what it does is it resets us. And I think it sets us up. Well, at least it does for me. And I don't want to speak for you. I think it sets you up for greater creativity and greater receptivity. I think when you go to magical places, you plug into the energy of that space, and then you bring a little bit of that back with you. And so there's something really deeply meaningful too that you're going to take away and bring back. There's like a value of the going and the coming home again. It's like, oh, I took something with me. And so, man, I'm like all about it. And I don't get to do it nearly as often as I would like, but I have always been grateful for every trip I've ever taken that was friend or female based, where we were leaving the family and going and doing somthing separate.
Yeah.
I think it's huge, huge deal.
Absolutely.
So anyway, if anyone has questions, I don't even know. Is anyone watching? This was so long.
People watch later.
It was long.
These will all stay posted on our social media. So thank you for letting us just sit and talk at you. We had such a good time. As always, please let us know if there are subjects that you would like Women of Wellness to tear apart and put back together for you, especially if they are those kinds of healing modalities that are on the cusp of woo-woo, and you want to hear about science and you want to hear about the woo-woo that you could add with that. Jen and I are all about that. So just let us know.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything that you want to
No, I gave all my tips, man. I doled out this is my bills for you all.
There you go.
Bills with a Z.
We love y'all. Yeah. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you guys. Oh, by the way, in 2 weeks is my last COVID test on Thursday. Nope, Friday. I lied. It's Friday late morning. So I'm not sure how we're going to do
how that goes.
This. So surprise. Sorry,
not
everyone.
COVID test, COVID shot.
My COVID shot. My apologies. My vaccine. I'm getting late that morning.
Yep. That'll be good times.
We're hoping that I have not a negative response to it because that would be real epic. So we're going to have to talk about this whole jam in 2 weeks.
Just watch for us.
We'll stay tuned with how we're dealing with that whole thing. But regardless, we will be back anyway. It doesn't matter. At some point, we'll be back. If not in 2 weeks, we'll be back in a month. That's just a randomly strange thing that I have no voice in. So that's when I have to go do my shot. So anyway, Take care all. I hope you're well. And we will be back with Women of Wellness. And we'll let you guys know when that is going to be.
All right.
All right, friends. Take care. Bye. It always says end stream. Like, yeah.